What's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today. And today we're going to be talking about what the Houston Astros lineup should possibly look like once Michael Brantley and Chas McCormick return to the lineup. As, we've seen, this lineup do pretty solid without these two guys. But I will say there's been at times where these bats have struggled. Really innings 1 through 6, and with these two guys coming back, getting close to return, McCormick, I think McCormick's a little bit ahead of Brantley. Brantley's expected to come back early next week. McCormick is not expected Friday in tomorrow's game against the Mariners, but could return either Saturday, Sunday, or maybe the same game as Brantley on Monday or Tuesday. So these guys are going to come back pretty close to each other. And these are two guys, if you look at what Chas was doing before he got injured, before, he hurt his, what did he hurt? I can't remember, was it his shoulder or his back? Well, at first it was his eye that was bothering him, and then another injury happened for him. But Chas was hitting well. I mean, really well when he exited the lineup. And if you look at what Brantley's done, his whole career for the Astros has been just a really, really, really good hitter. And how many years has he played here? I mean, I think he's played 3 years. Is this his 5th or 4th season with the Astros? This is his 5th year with the Astros. But it's either his 5th or 4th year. Brantley, I mean, he's always been efficient in his 4 or 5 years here with the Astros. And yes, last year he didn't play a lot, and he did pretty good. I mean, I think he had 4 home runs and 23 RBIs and only played 60 games. And was pretty solid for, those numbers. But yeah, the Astros kind of missed Brantley when it came down to the end of the season. Could have used him in the postseason, but we traded for Mancini. We saw how that worked out. Not so great in the Astros' favor, but it's going to be great to have Brantley and McCormick back in the lineup. But with both of these guys back, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what changes Dusty Baker makes to the lineup, 1 through 9. We're going to go over some options that I could see the Houston Astros going with the lineup to change it up once these two guys are both fully back. So the first lineup I want to talk about would be 1 through 9. 1 Mauricio Dubon. So Dubon stays at the leadoff even with McCormick back. 2 Michael Brantley. So Michael Brantley returns and goes into the 2 spot. 3 Alex Bregman. 4 Yordan Alvarez. 5 Kyle Tucker. 6 Jeremy Pena. And then 7 Jose Abreu. I know some Astros fans are either happy about this or upset about this, about Abreu being at 7. Here's what I can tell you. Abreu's struggling right now. A couple base hits yesterday and last year against the Giants in that series, a couple base hits by him. We thought, maybe his horrible end of the month of April was going to stop, but he's continuing to not hit the ball well, and the Astros got to figure it out. You sometimes putting a guy in the bottom of the order, it will help a guy, get better in the lineup and get back into, form. Because Abreu was hitting the ball like a monster to start the year. And, I think we want him to get to that. And with Brantley coming back into the lineup, I don't think you want Bregman, Yordan, or Tucker, or even Pena to slide down too far. And Abreu is great with hitting when there are runners in scoring position. And let's be honest, with Dubon, Brantley, Bregman, Yordan, Tucker, and Pena batting before Abreu, there's a lot of good chances that Abreu in a game will be batting with a couple men on about almost all of his bats in the game. I mean, if those guys are batting before him in an inning, I think it's Abreu will bat with runners, if not on base, in scoring position a lot if he's at the 7 spot with the players that are above him in the lineup. With Dubon and how good he's been hitting the ball, how efficient Brantley is with hitting the ball. Bregman's been pretty solid this year. Yordan's a beast. Tucker, he's struggling right now. Tucker's struggling. I'll be honest about that. But if Tucker's playing his best baseball, he's a beast. So with all these guys who get on a lot, I mean, Abreu could have a lot of chances for RBIs. Being at the 7th spot for the Astros, and he could possibly get him back into the form that he was in, earlier in the season where he was just on fire to start the year. Then at 8, Chas McCormick at 8, and then at 9, I know it's not realistic, but I want Yanner Diaz at catcher, so I'm putting Yanner Diaz at catcher at 9. So that's what I have. I think that's what the Astros should do with the lineup once Brantley and McCormick return. But here's another option. If Dusty wants to put McCormick back at the leadoff, because before McCormick was injured, that is what McCormick was doing. And then Dusty decided to give that leadoff spot to Mauricio, and then Mauricio ever since with that leadoff spot has shined. So I don't see Dusty taking that leadoff spot away from Mauricio, but maybe he says, Chas has been playing so well, or Mauricio has been playing so well with that leadoff, and so is Chas. Maybe we try both. So McCormick at 1, Brantley at 2, same thing. The only thing I have changing is Dubon and McCormick flipping from 8 to 1. So McCormick would be at 1, and then Dubon would be at 8, and then if we're going to be even more realistic, Maldonado would be at 9. More likely than Yanner Diaz. But Yanner Diaz has been hitting the ball. So the first lineup I was talking about, Yanner Diaz is 9. That's the best lineup for the Astros and the best option. But what Dusty's going to do is 9 at Maldonado. But those are just some of the options I see the Astros going with once McCormick and Brantley return. And I think it's going to be, I think the offense is going to heat up more than it's been the whole season once these two guys return. McCormick was great in the lineup before he got injured. Brantley's been great in his 4 or 5 years here. And I think I'm really more interested. To be honest, I love McCormick, but I don't really care where he goes, because I think with McCormick, it's very easy to guess where he's going to be. He's either going to be at 1, 8, or 7, and I don't see anything else for Chas. And I don't think he'd be at 9. Brantley, there are so many things Dusty can do with him. He can put him at 2. He can put him in the bottom of the order if he really wants to. He can do a lot with Brantley. He can put him at 4. I mean, Brantley could be in anywhere from 2 to 6, really. I mean, so I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Dusty decides to do with Brantley, putting him in the order when he gets back. But I think Brantley's going to... Dusty's always had Brantley at 2 mostly in his career when Dusty's been here. So, Dusty's been here. Brantley's usually been at that 2 spot. So, I don't really see that changing, but I think the lineup's gotten a little bit better since Brantley exited last season with the season-ending injury. Pena is better than he was when Brantley left. Pena was solid then, having a solid rookie year, but he's just turned into this, almost superstar now. And you've added in Abreu. Jordan's playing some of his best baseball, so is Tucker. So I think it's going to be really interesting. And now you got guys like Dubon and McCormick playing really well, something they really weren't doing when Brantley was in the lineup last year. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Dusty Baker does with Michael Brantley. Let me know your thoughts on the lineup I have the Astros going with from Dubon, Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Tucker, Pena, Abreu, McCormick, and Diaz. I think that would be the best lineup for the Astros once these two guys return. I'm excited for both of these guys to return to the Astros lineup. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Astros.